Welcome back. A stunning new report shows a whopping 20,000 people in San Francisco will experience homelessness at some point this year. And one racial demographic group will be especially hard hit. That's according to data collected from the biannual homeless point-in-time count conducted in February and March. Our media partners at the San Francisco Standard have written an article on this new report on homelessness in San Francisco. And joining us live now to talk about it is David Sjostedt. Thank you so much for joining us, David. Tell us about this count. It's federally required, right? But skipped last year?
Yeah, so this count is required by the federal government in order for San Francisco to receive funds for their homeless services. And the count is conducted first in February, and then researchers follow up in March to get more demographic data, and that's what we got today.
Okay, so 20,000 homeless people this year. I think a few years ago it was some 7,000. How do we get a threefold increase in such a short amount of time?
Well, actually, those are two different data points. So there's the point in time count, which is actually what this report was meant to refer to. But then they count how many people actually access the services over an entire year. And that number has the last I had heard of it from Department of Public Health, it was 18,000. So this isn't exactly a new number, and it's not as if we increased from 7,000 to 20,000, because the 7,000 number is referring to on a single night how many people they're counting.
I see. Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. Still, it's a pretty big increase. Why did the crisis get so severe?
Right. Well, so actually we saw a big increase in the city's Latino homeless population, and the city attributes that to that community being especially hard hit by COVID.
Can you dive a little deeper into that in terms of the Latino population? I see we're talking about 30% of the city's entire homeless population are Latino. And, you talked about why, they're a little more hard hit during the pandemic, but explain some of the factors why.
Right. So actually, there's respondents that gave answers to why they are homeless. And the majority of them said that they lost their job, or that was the main reason that people gave. We also saw a large increase in unsheltered homelessness in District 9, which is the Mission District. And there had been some thoughts that that district had been especially hard hit. And some of the other respondents gave answers such as drug addiction or eviction as reasons to why they were living on the streets.
What about blacks, who make up 6% of the general population in San Francisco? Does the report say anything about that demographic group? Right.
So they're very much overrepresented in the city's homeless population. I think the number is about 30% of the city's total homeless population are black people. And so that community that's been a sustained number that's been reported over and over. And we haven't seen too much of a change in that from 2019.
All right, the data was collected just a few weeks, I think, after Mayor Breed declared a state of emergency in the Tenderloin, in part to address this. Did that affect the count?
Right, so a lot of people were looking to see if there would be less homeless people in the Tenderloin because of those efforts and how close it was to the count being collected. But actually we saw there was a 5% increase in the Tenderloin, while some of the surrounding neighborhoods also saw an increase. So it seems that the efforts there didn't really impact how many people were living on the streets.
So then if that didn't pay off, at least immediately, what are some of the solutions being looked at?
Right, so as it pertains to the city's Latino population, the city says that they're going to start investing in more Spanish-speaking resources for those people. There's a lot of permanent supportive housing units that are coming online, somewhere in the range between 2,000 and 3,000 new units that are supposed to come online in the next year or so. I think the Department of Homelessness is crossing their fingers and really hoping that those efforts make a big impact in the next count.
All right. Is there any good news here in that? Are there areas of the city where homelessness went down, or are there any indicators that, something is working well?
Yeah, so we saw a big decrease in the Bayview, and we also saw a big decrease in people living in their vehicles in San Francisco. I'd like to, celebrate those data points, but with this data, it's so hard to tell whether those people actually found housing or, whether they're just like pushed into another part of this city or into, another city entirely.
Right. This is one data point, and we'll have to kind of keep following in the long term to really see where things progress. David, thank you so much for your time and sharing the article with us.
Thanks for having me.
And you can check out more of the San Francisco Standard's other original reporting on their website, sfstandard.com. And ABC7 will continue to bring you more segments featuring the Standard's city-focused journalism. And remember, you can get our live newscasts, breaking news, weather, and more with our ABC7 Bay Area streaming TV app. Just search ABC7 Bay Area and download it wherever you stream. We'll take a break and be right back.